The night my family called me the villain, I stopped answering to my own name. 3 days later, I was gone. No goodbye, no warning. Just one empty apartment, one missing daughter, and one inheritance file they never thought I'd let the world see. The notifications started at 7:42 a.m. the next morning. My phone vibrated so violently it almost fell off the nightstand. Ryan was still asleep beside me, but I was already wide awake, heart pounding in my chest like a war drum. I opened the family group chat and saw over 200 new messages in less than an hour. Aunt Karen led the charge. "Emily, how could you do this to your own parents, after everything they've given you?" Cousin Mike followed right after. "We all thought you were just being dramatic at the wedding. Now we see the truth. You're tearing this family apart." Even Uncle Robert, who I hadn't spoken to since I was 12, chimed in. "Your mother is crying every night because of you. Is this what you wanted?" Lauren was the loudest. She posted a long message tagging everyone. I tried to apologize. I admitted I knew about the money, but Emily took it too far. She's not the victim anymore. She's the one destroying everything we've built. I read every single word without replying. Ryan woke up, saw my face, and simply put his hand on my shoulder. "They're scared," he said quietly. "The mask is gone and they're panicking." I nodded. I already knew what was coming next. By noon, the private messages started flooding my inbox. Cousins I grew up with were now sending voice notes begging me to make it right. Aunts were offering to mediate if I would just delete the email and say I was sorry. They weren't asking for the truth. They were asking me to bury it again. For the next 3 days, the pressure built like a storm I could see coming from miles away, slow, heavy, and impossible to ignore. Every single time I opened my phone, the screen lit up with another flood of notifications, the kind that made my stomach tighten, even though I already knew what they would say. They had created a brand new group chat without me, named it Family Healing, and started planning an intervention like I was the problem that needed to be fixed. Lauren sent me the Zoom link personally, her message dripping with that fake sweetness I had heard 1,000 times before. "Emily, Mom, and Dad are completely devastated. We're all getting on a call this Saturday night at 8. Please come. We love you, and we just want to fix this as a family." I read it out loud to Ryan while we were making dinner. He didn't even look surprised. "They're not trying to fix anything," he said quietly. "They're trying to pull you back in." I nodded, then did something they never saw coming. I opened a private screen recording app on my laptop, tested the audio, and left it running in the background. No one would know I was watching. No one would know I was saving every word. Saturday night arrived. The apartment was quiet except for the low hum of the city outside. I sat on the couch with Ryan beside me, laptop open on the coffee table, camera off, mic muted. 43 people joined the Zoom call. The grid filled up with faces I hadn't seen in years. Aunts, uncles, cousins who used to smile at me at holidays and then forget I existed the moment Lauren walked into the room. Mom was pinned in the center frame, eyes red and puffy, voice already shaking before she even spoke. Dad sat next to her like a defeated king on a crumbling throne. Aunt Karen took the lead, her tone dripping with that calculated concern she always used when she wanted to sound like the wise one in the family. "Emily, sweetheart, wherever you are right now, we know you're watching. You need to understand that what you did at the wedding and what you did with that email, it hurt everyone, not just your parents. The whole family is bleeding because of this." They took turns, one after another, like they had rehearsed the script together. Cousin Mike leaned into his camera. "You were always the strong one, Emily. We never knew it was this bad, but did you really have to destroy us publicly like that?" Cousin Sarah jumped in right after. "We all grew up together. We thought you were just being dramatic at the wedding. Now look what you've done. You've ripped this family apart." Even Uncle Robert, who I hadn't spoken to since I was 12, cleared his throat and said, Your mother cries every single night because of you. Is this really the kind of daughter you want to be? Lauren was the loudest, tears streaming down her face on camera, voice cracking perfectly on cue. I admitted my part at the wedding. I told everyone I knew about the money and that I should have spoken up. Why can't you admit your part? You're making me look like the bad sister now. You're the one choosing revenge over family. The guilt tripping was so thick in the air I could almost taste it through the screen. Not once, not a single time, did anyone mention the stolen inheritance, the bank transfers, or the 2 years they had quietly moved my money into Lauren's account. They only talked about how I had chosen revenge over family, how I was ungrateful, how I was destroying everything we had built together. I sat completely still, Ryan's hand resting on my knee, the recording light on my laptop blinking silently. I let them talk for 45 full minutes. Every accusation, every sigh, every fake tear, I saved it all. When the call finally ended, the last message that popped up in the family healing group chat was from Mom. Her text was short, but it landed like a final punch. Emily, if you don't respond tonight, we'll know you've chosen to walk away from all of us. I waited until Sunday morning, the kind of quiet dawn where the city outside still felt half asleep. The apartment was bathed in soft gray light, filtering through the blinds. Ryan was already up, pouring coffee in silence, knowing exactly what I was about to do. I sat at the kitchen table, laptop open, fingers steady. No anger, no rush. Just the cold, deliberate calm that had been building inside me for days. I opened both group chats at once, the old family one that had coordinated their lies for years, and the new family healing one they had created to trap me. Then I pasted a single link and hit send. The title of the Google Doc was simple and devastating. The complete timeline. No more silence. Inside was everything. Every bank transfer highlighted in red. Every email between my parents and the family lawyer. Every voice message Lauren had left. Every screenshot from the past 5 years. And, at the very top, the full transcript of the Zoom call from the night before, with every name highlighted in bold so no one could pretend they hadn't spoken. Right above all of it, I had written one paragraph in clear, unapologetic black text. I never asked to be the villain in your story. You made me one the day you chose Lauren over me for 26 years. I gave you the chance to make it right with honesty. You chose guilt and lies instead. This is the last time I will ever speak to any of you. I closed the laptop, took a slow sip of the coffee Ryan handed me, and waited. Within minutes, the chats exploded like a dam breaking. The notifications came so fast, my phone screen kept lighting up without stopping. The tone had completely flipped, from righteous anger to pure panic. Lauren called me 17 times in a row, the screen flashing her name over and over like an alarm. I let it ring. I didn't even look at the screen. Mom left a voicemail that came through at 8:17 a.m. Her voice was raw, broken, the kind of sobbing I had only heard once before. At the wedding. Emily, please. You're killing your father. He hasn't slept since the email. We're begging you. Delete that document. Come back to us. I saved every single voicemail without listening to the rest. Then came the final Zoom ambush. They added me without asking, just like they always did when they wanted control. 43 faces filled the grid again. This time I turned my camera on. I sat completely still on the couch, Ryan right beside me, his hand resting on my knee under the frame where no one could see. The room was dead quiet, except for the low hum of the air conditioner. They all started talking at once, voices overlapping in chaos. Aunt Karen's face filled one box, red and furious. Emily, delete that document right now. You have no right to air our private business like this. Uncle Robert jumped in right after, pointing at the camera. You're going to regret this for the rest of your life, young lady. This isn't how family works. Lauren was crying again, mascara running down her cheeks. You're not the only one who suffered, Emily. We all did. Why are you doing this to us? I admitted everything. Why can't you just let it go? The guilt, the threats, the accusations crashed over the screen like waves. I let the noise build for almost a full minute, my face showing nothing. No tears, no raised voice. Just the same cold clarity I had felt since the day I tore up the check. When the shouting finally died down into an uneasy silence, I leaned slightly forward, looked straight into the camera, and spoke for the first time in the entire call. My voice was calm, clear, and carried the weight of every single year they had erased me. You spent 26 years erasing me. Now you want me to stay quiet while you rewrite history again. I won't. This document is already saved in places you will never reach, and I have one more thing to say. I reached off screen, picked up the notarized letter my lawyer had prepared 2 days earlier, and held it up to the camera. The official seal caught the light for a second as I unfolded it slowly, deliberately, so every single person on the call could see the black ink and the stamped signature. I reached off screen, picked up the notarized letter my lawyer had prepared 2 days earlier, and held it up to the camera. The official seal caught the light for a second as I unfolded it slowly, deliberately, so every single person on the call could see the black ink and the stamped signature. I paused for half a second, letting the words sink in, then delivered the final line with the same calm finality. Consider this my final goodbye. Signed, Emily, no longer Thompson. The silence on the Zoom call was deafening. For the first time in the entire call, no one spoke. Mom's face went completely white, her hand flying up to cover her mouth as if she had been slapped. Dad stared straight into the camera like someone had punched him in the chest. His shoulders slumped, eyes wide and empty. The confident man who once controlled everything now looked small and broken. Lauren started crying again, mascara running down her cheeks in black streaks. But this time, no one comforted her. No one reached out. Aunt Karen's mouth opened and closed without sound. Uncle Robert just stared at the screen, his face flushed red with shock. The entire grid of 43 faces seemed to freeze in real time. I could see the panic spreading like cracks in glass. Some looked away, others leaned closer to their cameras as if they couldn't believe what they had just heard. I didn't wait for their reaction. I didn't need to. I simply moved the mouse, clicked "Leave meeting," and the screen went black. The call ended with a soft click that felt louder than anything else in the room. That same night, after the sun had set and the city lights outside had come alive, Ryan and I packed the last boxes in silence. I changed my phone number for the final time. I deleted every single email account they had ever known. I changed my address for the 3rd time in 2 weeks and removed myself from every platform, every group, every digital trace. We loaded the car under the quiet glow of the apartment building lights, the engine humming low as we pulled away from the curb. The highway stretched out in front of us, the new city we had chosen 2 weeks earlier, waiting somewhere ahead, a place none of them would ever find us. The skyline behind us slowly disappeared in the rearview mirror, the lights shrinking until they were just distant sparks. Ryan's hand rested on mine on the gear shift, steady and warm. The final move wasn't loud. It wasn't another public scene or screaming match. It was quieter, colder, and far more permanent than anything they could have imagined. I disappeared from their lives completely, while the truth I had left behind continued to burn through every corner of the family they had tried so hard to protect. They had chosen to protect their lies. I chose to protect myself, and this time there was truly no going back. Silence is their weapon. Truth is mine. And sometimes the strongest revenge is simply refusing to play their game anymore. I stood on the balcony of our new apartment that night, the city lights of a different skyline glowing below. Ryan's arm was around me, and for the first time in my life, I felt completely weightless. 26 years of being the invisible child had finally ended, not with screaming or revenge porn, but with the quietest, most final decision I had ever made. If your family ever tried to turn you into the villain for speaking the truth, comment villain below. You are not alone. I rate every single comment. Thousands of you have lived this exact nightmare. The golden child, the stolen inheritance, the entire family closing ranks to protect the lie. You are not alone. Start today with the same 3 steps that finally set me free. 1. Gather every single piece of evidence and keep it in places they can never touch. 2. Speak your truth once, clearly, calmly, and without apology. Then stop explaining. 3. Build boundaries so strong that disappearing becomes an option, because your peace is worth more than their approval. Revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it is the coldest, quietest exit you will ever make. If you love betrayal stories, revenge stories, and toxic family stories with even darker twists and deeper pain, hit subscribe right now and turn on notifications. Every week I bring you real stories told from the inside, no sugarcoating, no filter. This was the final chapter of the Wedding Favoritism trilogy. Thank you for staying with me through all 3 parts. The truth is always worth more than silence. Remember this. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to stand up. You deserve a life that is no longer defined by the people who once tried to erase you. And when you finally choose yourself, the freedom you feel, it is worth every single tear, every single scar, every single year you spent in the shadows. This is Chloe. The trilogy is complete, but the stories are not over. See you next week with a brand new dark confession.